Hello everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Jad and in today's video we're going to be talking about everything LISA. We're going to be going through what is a LISA, what age should you start investing in a LISA, when might you or might you not want to put your money in a LISA, and really the pros and cons, and lastly my opinion really of, should you do a LISA. Now, important thing to keep in mind, I am not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. This is just me. I'm a recent graduate sharing what I know and my approach towards LISAs. I also want to say thank you very much for 20 subscribers, guys. That is awesome. 20 people subscribed to this channel. I'm so excited. And nevertheless, let's get into this. So a LISA is essentially a savings account designed by the government to help people save for either their first home or save for retirement. The idea with a LISA is that all the gains you make in either the stock market or the interest you earn on your cash will be tax-free. So you won't be paying any tax on your LISA, and you'll also receive up to 25% bonus from the government, up to £4,000. So if we give an example of this, if I put £4,000 in my LISA, I would receive £1,000 from the government as a government bonus, an incentive for putting money into my LISA. You don't have to put the full £4,000, that is just the maximum. You can also put 1,000, 2,000, 500, and the bonus will adjust accordingly. So for example, if I put £2,000 in my LISA, I would receive a £500 bonus from the government. There are no penalties for using your LISA, and you can use your LISA anytime either to buy your first house or you can withdraw it when you're 60 tax-free. The cool thing I like about a LISA though is that even if things don't go to plan, you can actually withdraw your money at any time. However, you will be subject to a fee, which I will talk about later on. Anyone is eligible in the UK for a LISA if they're aged between 18 and 39, and you can contribute up to £4,000 each year, all the way until you're 50 years old. So the earlier you start, the more government bonus cash you could get, and the more time your money has to compound. So I'm quite a visual learner, and I think there's no better way to really show you guys what a LISA actually is than opening up my LISA account and my Moneybox account. So for a LISA, there are a limited amount of providers in the UK. I know a lot of people do their investing on Trading 212, which I personally do for my stocks and shares ISA. However, there are only a few LISA providers, so please do make sure you know who those providers are. In the case of me, I use Moneybox. I think this was pretty much the most published and most advertised platform there is in the UK, and that's pretty much the only reason I use Moneybox. It was the first one I found. So there are a few. Please do your research, but nevertheless, let's get into it. So really opening the Moneybox account, you can see how your ISAs are separated if you have just your LISA here, or as well as stocks and shares ISA. If we click on our LISA, I really just wanted to show you all how the government bonus really works. The government bonus actually comes in anytime you transfer money. So if I transferred money in March, I would receive my bonus in April. And you can see here, we've received in April a government bonus of £1,000 and currently in progress. So we should get this in about 5 days time, another £1,000 from the government. So this is probably one of the main reasons I invested in the LISA for the whole bonuses. However, it's important to consider if you are more of a investor who likes to invest in single stocks, you really want to choose where your money goes. Maybe you have a niche fund you want to put your money in. A first con of the LISA is that the funds are quite limited. At least in the case of Moneybox, I found that you didn't have that much flexibility, actually no flexibility to choose what stocks you wanted to buy. And even for me, as a Muslim, I invest in an all-world Islamic fund. I found the options extremely limited. So the first con would be limited options. The second con would be that the funds I did find on Moneybox, the fees were very high. So for example, I'm investing in this fund now. I've got more than 9,000 in it, and the fund fees are 0.64, which is absolutely insane to think about. They are essentially charging you 0.64% of your total investment value each year just for owning this fund. Moneybox automatically sells your shares to cover these fees, so really there is no way of avoiding these fees. I also found that for more traditional investments like the S&P 500, the FTSE All-World, compared to a platform like Trading 212, the fees on Moneybox were higher, so please do keep that in mind. The last con I would say of opening a lifetime ISA is if you do withdraw your funds early, you are charged a penalty fee. So let's open up the calculator and just use my investment as an example. So let's say I put £4,000 into my LISA and I receive the 25% bonus from the government. That leaves me with a total investment of £5,000. If for some reason I need the money now and I do decide to withdraw that fund, I will be charged a 25% fee. From the outset, at least when I was looking into it, I thought, no worries, that's just my bonus gone. But that is not the case, as if we take 25% off of this, we are left with £3,750, which is £250 less than we invested. You can almost think of this as a penalty. I believe it comes out to around 5 or 6% of your initial investment account if you do decide to withdraw early. So please do keep that in mind. Nevertheless, I have gone over a lot of the cons of a LISA, and probably at this point you're thinking, why on earth would you invest in a LISA? So really, let's go into some of the pros and some of the main pros why I decided to invest in a LISA. So the first was a government bonus. I think that is probably the main reason everyone invests in a LISA. You are getting essentially a free 25% return from the government each year. That can really add up, and if you're saving into your LISA account over a 10-year period, 20-year period, that's essentially, 10 years of £1,000 for free each year. During this time, your money also has a lot of time to compound and grow without you really having to do much. The second reason I invested in a LISA was the ability to withdraw any time. I understand that if you wanted to salary sacrifice and put more money into your pension in the UK, obviously you would also receive a government bonus on your money. However, the thing I really liked with a LISA is that I have the ability to withdraw this at any time. Obviously, my plan is to save it for the long term and either save it towards a house or save it towards my retirement. However, things do change in life, and at one point you might need your money. So even though you have to pay that fee, at least from my personal opinion, not financial advice, I like the ability that I'm able to withdraw that money anytime. In 5 years' time, if I do need that money, I can withdraw that money when I'm 28 rather than that money being locked away until I'm 60 years old. Last pro is that, the limit's quite high of £450,000 to buy a house. I'm not sure how much of a baller you are and how rich you are, but at least where I live, and I live in the southeast, buying a house up to a £450,000 limit, I think that's a very doable amount, especially if it's your first house. I don't think you should be going and buying a £1 million mansion, but depends on you. However, I think the limit for the house is also quite a good amount, so I'll be able to comfortably buy a house, hopefully, inshallah, in the future. And on this graph over here, you can see how my money has performed over time whilst being in the LISA. I actually chose to invest in an ETF, which tracks the global stock market, rather than a traditional, I believe it's 4 or 5% yield you get on your money each year. And you can see this is how my investment performed. It was very choppy to begin with the whole Trump situation in America and tariffs. It did drop. However, you can see at this point, our first government bonus did kick in, which brought us above our net contribution threshold. And our money also grew over time as the stock market increased. You can see we're up 1,275. However, it's important to consider 1,000 of that was from the government. So really, that's my opinion on a LISA. At least from my point of view, if you're a young person, this would definitely be worth it to get the free 25% bonus from the government. Although you are limited by the amount of platforms you can use, as well as the very high fees charged by these platforms, I believe the 25% bonus from the government more than makes that up. And you also have the ability to withdraw your funds at any time if you need to. Please let me know in the comments what you all think about LISAs. Are you personally invested in a LISA? What do you invest in your LISA? Do you keep it in stocks or is it all in cash? And really, what platforms do you all recommend? As I know, I myself am probably not the most knowledgeable person on this, so please let me know what you invest in. Are there any better platforms out there which I could check out? But nevertheless, thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you are here this long, you are definitely a real one, so please do subscribe if you have the chance, and I will see you in the next video.